I wish you all a very good afternoon. As a Turkish hospitality, I will continue my presentation in English.
For Sistrick to invite us for the invitation for this such a great event. I've been enlightened. My name is Ahmet Kayhan. I'm the CEO and co-founder of an internet startup called Raiden.com. It's an international information company focusing on emerging markets. We operate mainly in two markets, Dubai and Istanbul, focusing on 35 emerging countries and offices in Hong Kong and London. And basically what we do is, this is what I do right now. What we do is about providing data analytics, and by the means of this business, I became an entrepreneur. Beforehand, I used to work for a company called Euromoney Institutional Investor, and lots of my friends here, I used to hang around through the conference circles that they are here. As I was really happy to be invited to this event to see them again. And I was the head of I was the head of the Middle East operations of Euromoney's online businesses, and I was the global head of the Islamic Finance Information Services of Euromoney. So I have a certain small, considering all the speakers and the attendees, of a small understanding of what Islamic finance is about. I would like to talk to you about in the next 10 minutes from an entrepreneur's perspective, because I was there. I started my career as a banker as well, so I've been there as a banker. I worked as an international organization, looking at the workings and the dynamics of the international markets, Islamic finance. When we were starting IFFS, there was not much Islamic finance. There was a couple of scoops that now we are looking into a couple of $1 trillion of economy, hopefully. And I quit my job, started up a company. And as a believer of this system, asset-backed system, I tried to raise funds. And I will try to share my experience, how I came from that bottom-up as that unique micro level to the level of the ecosystem, as Mr. Day mentioned that, from an ecosystem perspective, where we are, what we have done. And I would like to share the experience of another gentleman that I think will be inspiring for us. I will start the presentation by the very meaning of entrepreneurship is that. The reason, I think I should go after this, I'm done, Mr. Day. The entrepreneurship is that in the way that we think and we were taught in the days that we were trained, or the classical way of training, as if, when I started up working for this internet company, Euromoney's ISA Emerging Markets, it was around like 2000s, and there was not many internet companies based in Turkey. I would like to share this example because it will tell you more about how my grandmother used to think about as I am an entrepreneur, which is, this picture shows you very much what he thinks as an entrepreneur. I was in Turkey, I was in my hometown talking to my father. He likes to talk about the life and everything. And I've been working for that company almost 2 years. And he asked me that, son, you're happy, your salary is good, you're traveling. I've been traveling, I was in charge of the Middle East operation, etc. I said, yes, Dad, I like the job, I like what I'm doing. He said, what the hell do you do? I said, this is information, we gather information, we package them, sell them. He said, he just stood up and went to the door, closed the door for my mother not to hear, came back to me and said, are you a spy? So that was the days that I was trying to explain him, I'm selling information, collecting data in the Middle East, okay, in the hardest places, and selling this information, our clients, IMF, World Bank, CIA, our clients, these are our clients. So and he said, like, are you a spy? No, of course not. So that was the time that we were trying to explain, working for, forget about entrepreneur as an internet company. Lots of Turks do understand me very well that how becoming an entrepreneur, something else, comparing to becoming a lawyer, working for the government, work for a bank, is guaranteed. That perception from my this is my grandmother's perception about me becoming an entrepreneur. This is the perception of the society. If you become an entrepreneur, here's your opportunity. You don't have much boundaries. You need to raise those funds, do the business. These two extreme terms, definition of entrepreneurship is that. But there is another term, entrepreneurship, that is coming to the terms which is driving the growth after post-crisis of 2008. That's what we are discussing right now, at least my understanding is about that. How we can flourish that type of entrepreneurship, which is crystallized by the stereotypes of these kind of people. These people came to the subject, came to the area, came to startup business to change the world. So when we look at the startup ecosystem around the world, there is a study done by Startup Genome. Basically, there are a couple of centers in the world flourishing startups. I'm not talking about internet startups only, but the ecosystem of entrepreneurs. How we flourish them, how we give them, change the mind, how we make them start up a business, run it, grow it, list it, exit it, create employment, create finance. When I look at Islamic finance, I was really excited about learning the first structure of there is a tool written as a contract 1,200 years ago in Baghdad and Damascus, when these two cities were holding the two biggest libraries of the world. Then, I'm talking about 11th century, a structure called Mudarab and Musharaka. I was serious, as being a Muslim, being a Turk in this part of the world, I'm talking about the Middle East, that learning a creation, an innovation, a financial structure, flourishing and helping the startup who has some idea and helping him to grow his business and creating a structure, a contract to help that person, it was amazing. Then I looked at, I'm talking about I learned these terms in around late 90s, and I looked around me, I couldn't see a single Mudaraba contract. I couldn't see a single entrepreneur, and still, who raised funds from a Mudaraba and Musharaka structure, went to a regular investment company, I'm talking not Islamic or non-Islamic, and raised funds to start up his business. He has an idea, he has track record of 10 years. In my case, it took me around 6 months and 35 meetings to raise my first funds, including after starting up the company, after putting around $150,000 of my own money and my friend's money, and proof of concept, and 10 years of background, and after the 5th client, we start gathering some attention. And it was not Islamic initially. Then came the non-Islamic version. So entrepreneurship, by means, and I think this is a great way to cover the term, is a state of mind. As a state of mind is shaped by the society, shaped by the days that you work in, shaped by the need. It's a way of thinking about the way that you should survive, you should prepare yourself for after that, you should prepare yourself for today, how you should bring food at home, how you should change the world. It's a state of mind shaped by different ideals. It is about changing the boundaries. It's about doing something unforeseen before. It was perceived as unreal, and taking into reality and creating an innovative solution that will bring a solution that will be bought at a sustainable level. By itself, when you look at this country is started up by entrepreneurs, right? This country is run, when you look at most of the organizations creating the ecosystem, the employment is the entrepreneurs. This is the ecosystem of the small and medium-sized enterprises. In Turkey as well, this is the case in Germany, this is the case in US, 90+% of this economy is small and medium enterprises. But we are not talking about how to flourish how these companies came to that point. We're talking about after the point they can put a collateral to finance that loan that they're after to grow their businesses. I'm talking about something else. I'm talking about pre-seed, seed, early stage funding. So since the term emerging markets coined, there is a big change. Emerging market term is dead as well, which is, this is a great chart. This is done by the guy who put the emerging markets term, the Goldman Sachs economist, and he came up with another term called growth economies that I love to share. In most of the presentations, most of the conference day, I try to share this one. Shows you a great information about the state of the economy since 2000, which is the upper part. Okay, this upper part is 2000, showing you this part is the developed markets. The green field is here, the growth markets. Growth markets are Brazil, Russia, India, BRICS, Brazil, Russia, India, China, plus Mexico, Korea, Turkey, and Indonesia, 8 countries. These 8 countries are called the growth markets, and the blue field here is the emerging markets. So here, what we're looking at, by 2011, the contribution of these 8 markets was around 25% to the world economy, around 12%, 11.8%. 12% is the emerging markets, and 63% of the world GDP was created by these developed markets. It is estimated that around 50% of the world GDP will be produced by these 8 countries by 2050. 50%. Plus 23%, we're talking about almost 70 to 75% of the world GDP will be produced by emerging markets than the developed markets. What is driving this growth? The only single thing I'm seeing in these markets driving this is the spirit of entrepreneurship, because the need. These 8 countries, we're talking about Korea. A size of a company called Samsung 15 years ago was almost the size of Arçelik or Beko, whatever you compare it. Now produces the highest number of mobile phones in the world. Coming from a country which was collapsed 15 years ago after the Asian crisis, with a revolution of entrepreneurs, literally entrepreneurs, nothing else. Small and medium-sized enterprises merged into bigger organizations and created this ecosystem of brands, LGs, Hyundai's, or so you name it, creating a worldwide economy coming to this. This growth is driven by the ecosystem of startups. Coming back from this, when you look at the startup ecosystem, I think we need to discuss about where do we stand about the ecosystem. We need to understand the ecosystem of the startup, the stage of the startups as well. When we find a problem as entrepreneurs, we try to explore a solution. We try to validate that solution. Then we try to build that solution around it. We launch it, we grow it, and we try to make money out of it. This is the exit point, right? So every stage of this needs a certain level of funding. If I couldn't find that in this single angel investor, when I started up my company 6 years ago, I wouldn't be catering the needs of 500 plus clients 6 years ago. It is not possible. Without the right funding and the right place, with the right equity, it is not possible. When you look at the Mudarab and Musharaka structures, it should be, how many minutes? 2 minutes.
10 minutes, yes, 2 minutes.
Okay. So it should be leveled, it should be designed for every stage of the startup. We have to look at the funding of the startup for these stages, not only just one startup. So there are different startups, different sectors, so different needs. So this is a great chart, which is kind of said as well. There are 20 cities, 20 ecosystems in the world. These are considered as the top startup destinations in the world. And there is no single one Islamic city here, including Turkish cities. Based on startup output, funding, performance, talent, support, and mindset indices, Tel Aviv is in our region. It's a small city. The entire country is around 7 million people. Because of the power of innovation, because of the number of books translated into Hebrew or English, or written, or the number of academic papers released, it's a phenomenal global startup ecosystem. We are talking about 3 hours flight here. And this is the only ecosystem in this list within a population of almost 1 billion people, including Middle East, Africa, and the subcontinent, and Turkey. So what flourishes, I'm not going to go into these details. There is startup output, what those startups do at the end of the day. The funding, how strong is your funding? Funding is just one portion of the problem. If you give me the funds, if I'm not ready, and most of our startups are not ready, by the way, it's a waste of money. I mean, most of the entrepreneurs are not ready to use that money. So financial literacy, we're talking about performance, how we perform global level, how we create Samsungs, how we create the LGs. We're talking about the mindset of my grandmother, mindset of my family, father, the society, the banks, my teachers. When I was studying management engineering, I was tried by my teachers to become a banker or to work for someone. It was untaught by my university teachers to become an entrepreneur day one. I shouldn't have been. I should learn about it, but the mindset. Then comes the trendsetter, how you take these companies and absorb the technology outside. Coming back to this, I'm not going to go into details. I'm just passing through. I would like to share the example of one guy. He's a Muslim. He's a friend of mine. He lives in San Francisco. His father, his name is Said Amidi. His father moved to San Francisco from Iran 35 years ago. He sells rocks. He sells carpets, along with other business. I'm going to tell you what he does. His father started up this carpet business in Menlo Park, selling carpets. He bought the second floor of that same office, on the way from San Jose to San Francisco on the 101. You can see on the left side, it says the carpet the store, and on the top there is the office. In 1995, there was a crisis, and he couldn't rent out the office space, and there was this company called Logitech came to the door, said, like, we are moving from Europe to San Francisco, and we would like to start company, but we don't have much funds. Can you rent out the office space? He said, fine. 3 months ahead, they got some financial problems. He said, can we pay by equities? And the guy said, okay, no problem. How do you do that? What is stock options? His father learned that, and he got. 1 year later, this company got the second round of funding, and he sold those equities with them with around $1 million to $2 million of profit. The second tenant, after they moved 1 week later, there is another company moved in called PayPal. 4 guys, 4 kids. They came in, they said, we don't have any money. We have only 6 months of funds to run this business. For 6 months, can you rent out this business? After we raise the funds, we're going to pay your rent. He said, fine, but I don't want rent for 1 year. I want you to give me stock options. Now he learned. And he said, okay, I'll give you stock options. He got 2.5% equity in that business. He cashed out $100 million of money out of PayPal. Guess, who guesses the third tenant? Anyone? 1999. Third tenant. No one? 2 kids came to his door, Larry and Sergey, asked about an office space. We heard the karma about your office. We want to move into your office. They rented the office. He got equity in this business. By the way, he also got another thing. His cousin studying in UCLA, the name guy called Omid. He said, I have a kid, my nephew. He studies in UCLA. He's just finishing his studies. Would you like to hire him? He said, yes, Larry. And he hired number 2 employee. Google is his cousin, his nephew. And his worth right now, that kid's worth right now is $2 billion plus. And his employee number 6 is his wife's sister. But the ecosystem was taking risk. He gave this idea. These guys are coming in, and he's giving the space, which is worth maybe $120,000 a year for free, in returns of equity for nothing. I met him. I visited his office. He has a plug-and-play tech center. It's an incubation center. It's a factory of startups in San Francisco. If you go there, please go and visit him. He loves Turks. He loves people to come and visit him and to tell you he wants to transfer that idea to emerging markets as well. He told me one of his investments he made 4 years ago. 2 kids again. He met them at a conference. They were pitching an idea. One of them is Iranian origin, American. The other kid is American. They were in the 3rd grade Stanford computer science. He put $100,000. He said it was the biggest investment I did. It was his biggest investment. He only makes up to $50,000 checks. This company, he put $100,000. Its name is Dropbox. He sold his shares last month at $80 million. I'm talking about 800 times return. Tell me any asset class in the world that is more valuable than an entrepreneur. Thanks a lot.